Hello guys, welcome back to the Sportsman Untitled Extra and our Ipswich versus Wrexham preview for this weekend's massive game. I'm joined by Johnny from Borough Breakdown and Ollie from Sheffield United Way. I mean, this game feels quite pivotal for both teams, especially when you look at Ipswich and their kind of turnaround in form.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's two teams who have finally started to get their feet into the season. I think obviously for different reasons, both had really struggled with that early season adaptation. I think Ipswich in particular will be really disappointed with the first 2 or 3 months of their season so far. I think they would have expected to have really hit the ground running, and it's taken them a long time to get into it, to get their best players firing. I think we're finally seeing now the best of Jack Clarke. I think at Portman Road, we're seeing a really impressive run of form from Phil as well. Obviously struggling a little bit more away from home, but that's the key bit of this for me, because I think Ipswich being at home really makes it difficult for Wrexham, because I think should they have been able to get Ipswich back to Wrexham, piled into that sort of stadium with all of the sort of fan noise, shall we say, that they could have created around that, I think that would have been a really difficult game. Similarly, the big talking point is Kieffer Moore's injury. Is he going to be back? Obviously he's missed the games for Wales, he pulled out of the Wales squad. He's Wrexham's most important player by a mile. I think probably if you said to me one player in the entire division who's most important for their club, I might pick Kieffer Moore, because he's just so good about everything that Wrexham need. If he's missing this game, I think Ipswich will really fancy the chances.
Wrexham are unbeaten in their last 5 games, 3 wins and 2 draws in the league, so they have had a bit of a turnaround, got a good 1-0 win over Charlton before the international break, but it's one of the toughest tests and asks in the Championship, isn't it, go to Portman Road?
It 100% is. Ipswich will be in the top 2 coming end of the season, in my opinion. They're really starting to turn a corner now, like Ollie was saying. But on the flip side, I think Wrexham are arguably one of the hardest teams to play against in the division, to be honest. They're really chaotic. And when they played against Middlesbrough, I could not believe for the life of me how tall and physical this team was. I was like, oh my God, it's the land of the giants. Now, I mean, it's not hard to be taller than me, but for them, I was like, wow, like this, I can see exactly what Phil PArkinson's trying to do with this squad. Ipswich will have the quality of individual players, but ultimately I think this is a perfect game for Wrexham. They made it really difficult for Middlesbrough to break them down, and they should have beat us at the Riverside. They should have beat us 2-0. And we were very, very lucky that Kieffer Moore missed a golden chance and Hackney went the other end and scored. So, yeah, I wouldn't write them off at all, Wrexham. I think it's going to be a really good game for them. I think they'll make it really difficult, hard to play against, give the Ipswich players a few kicks. And you know what? It's going to be a question for Ipswich's mentality during the game. Can they survive a really rough and tumble type team?
It's interesting you point that out, actually, because they got a good result against Borough. They were the only team to beat Coventry. It seems like Wrexham actually rise to the challenge of playing those top teams, which could help them out here.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously both of those away games as well, which I think is really important. In fact, wasn't an away game, Wrexham at home. Yeah. But I think it's one of those where they really do rise to that. I think we've seen that through their journey up the divisions as well. I think it was when they were back in the National League, when they were having the cup run, and you really saw them shine on those big nights where they wanted to be in front of the TV cameras. They're obviously used to that, and it's something that drives them forward. I do think that there's a limit to how far that can take you, and I think Ipswich, if it is finally clicking and we're getting that right, I think it's 4 goals in the 2 of the last 4 games in terms of them just breaking teams down and really showing what they can do. I think that, yes, Wrexham will make this difficult. I think it's not going to be a walkover. I'm not saying Ipswich are going to walk out, win this 5-0, but I do think that Ipswich have just got too much for them. I think ultimately that will show. The big question, though, for me is about that physicality point, isn't it? And are Ipswich going to stand up to that? Particularly when you look at the wingers, who I identify as being the key men in this game. I think if Ipswich are really going to be the team that we expect them to be, it's getting the most out of players like Phil, like Jack Clarke. Are they the players who are going to stand up in a big, physical, challenging evening? That's then a different question. It's asking different sort of skills for them to come out and shine. I still think they will. I think they'll have too much. But I do think it'll be a lot closer than maybe some people are predicting. And maybe I made it sound from my opening gambit.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because we talked about the difference in their home and away form, Ipswich, but they turned that around with 2 4-1 away wins in a row in kind of the last week. They've got 10 points in their last 4 games since they lost 3-0 at home to Charlton in that absolute bonkers game. This does feel like the time of the season for Ipswich to really, really crack on, doesn't it? It
really does. Players are coming into form and McKenna's starting to get a tune out of the team. It was always going to be difficult for them coming down the Championship after last season. There's still a lot of change with personnel, and also that adaptation time from going from the Premier League to the Championship is so different. The style of football you would try and plan for 12 months to play a specific way, but now you're going to have to try and plan another way. But now it feels like it's all starting to click, and I think the wings, like Ollie was saying, really pivotal in this game because Ipswich will like to get the ball out wide. Philogene and Leif Davis on that left-hand side, just overloads against the back three of Wrexham. It could be quite a difficult afternoon for Wrexham on that side of things. But yes, coming together, automatic insight. Wouldn't be shocked by Christmas they'll be up there.
Yeah. It's interesting, the key point on that I think is the number 10 as well, because they were trying Sammy Schmodix and then Chuba Akpom in those positions, and it wasn't quite clicking, and now I think injuries to Schmodix, and it's meant that Marcelino Nunes is playing there, and all of a sudden it's gelling together nicely.
Yeah, the banter signing all of a sudden actually looks like a great player that we all knew he was, obviously, in the last couple of seasons. And I think that's exactly it. They've had so many options that they've had to cycle through. I mean, they've got an unbelievable squad running front to back, but particularly in those attacking areas, how could they make it click was the most important question. There is undoubtedly a 4 between their many options that will be the best in the division, and it feels as though they've started to get that now. I think Nunes' role is really important in terms of filling up those spaces, finding his passes. We know what he's great at, and he can just break down defences time and time again. So he's a brilliant player to be able to have to bring into that. But I think for me, you said it before, this is the important time now. Ipswich, it's the longest unbroken run where there's not an international break. There's no distractions. There's nothing else to focus on. You run now to get your promotion. This is that time of the season where I think all of your contenders really stand up. This is either you fly or you flounder. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do. I think we all predict that they're just going to fly. And it would not shock me at all if, come the next international break, we're talking about Coventry and Ipswich being a massive gap to the rest, because they're just two teams who we know can switch it on with attacking players who hurt you every single time.
I hope so. I certainly hope so from my point of view. A player I wanted to talk about, by the way, for Wrexham is Nathan Broadhead, especially Kieffer Moore's out injured, because he started behind Broadhead in the 1-0 win, but he was taken off and Windass came on and scored the penalty. It's been mainly Windass and Moore up front as kind of a 3-5-1-1. Broadhead's playing against his old club here. Massive signing, was £7.5 million, and yet he doesn't seem to have been able to find his way into this Wrexham team. It's almost like the formation doesn't suit him, because it's a 5 at the back, and he used to play like off the left forward position. What have you made of Broadhead, and what does he need to do to stamp his mark on this Wrexham team at Portman Road? What a way to do it that would be.
Oh yeah, the script's written, isn't it, for him to score with Broadhead. We're very guilty as fans to say that a player should be instantly good when they arrive at a new club. It doesn't matter if it's his hometown team or whatever. Yes, there's a fee on it, but it always takes you about 6 to 12 months to really adapt to somewhere. Even if you're there every single day, training with people and people around you and understanding the system, because you've been so conditioned to one thing, going to a different thing can be very difficult. So I still think he's a fantastic footballer. I still think he'll be a success at Wrexham. I still think he'll be regarded as a great signing in years to come. But right now, I think just take the pressure off him. Let Josh Windass do Josh Windass things with Lewis O'Brien just behind that as well. And they will help carry Wrexham for this season. Then next year, Broadhead can maybe come good when he's got time to adapt.
It's very generous of you, isn't it, for a record sign? I think it's nice calm point of view there. I'd love to see him do something special at Portman Road against his old team. I think all there is to do now is do our score predictions. Ollie, I'm going to come to you first, because you can have the pressure.
Imagine if Wrexham win. No, I think given how I've gone, I think you know where I'm going to lean on this one. I think Ipswich are going to win this game. I'm going to go 2-0. I think they'll overpower them in the end. I think it'll probably be an early goal, then a really messy game, then they'll get one towards the end on the break.
I'm going to go for Can I do it? I'm going to go for a 1-1. I'm going to back Wrexham to get something. I think they're on a good unbeaten run. I think they're hard to beat. I think they do well against the big teams in the division, and I'm hoping that Kieffer Moore's fit and it'll all be okay. But I'm going to go for a draw, basically, because that's what I want to happen. What about you, Johnny?
I think it's a game Ipswich have to get something. It won't define Wrexham's season. They're a top 10 team. But I'm going to go over 2-1 Wrexham win.
Go on. There we go. We've covered all bases there, haven't we? We've got one of each result.
Yeah, honestly, I think that they will make it really difficult for Ipswich. I think they really will. They're really difficult to play against. And when I've watched them live, I can understand exactly why Phil PArkinson gets the tune out of them that they do. They win every second ball. They're really good in set pieces. Yeah, I fancy them. I really do.
Absolutely. Thank you both for your predictions for this big game. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I'll be back on Monday for the Sportsman Untitled Extra. Like and subscribe. Get your score comments in the comments down below. Your score predictions, I should say. And we'll see you on Monday.